Hello, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Lynette. Today, we're going to be talking about the 3 levels of happiness. And that basically goes to mind, body, and spirit. The body, we have to keep fit. So that is what presents us. That is what takes us where we need to go. That is what does the physical labor for us. And that is what others see that create that first impression. Secondly is the mind. The mind will give you ideas. And the third is the spirit. The spirit kind of oversees the mind because sometimes we think we really want something or really need something. And if you look back at the same situation a year later, and at that time you were devastated because you didn't get what you wanted. But if you look back, you have that feeling of, oh my gosh, I dodged that bullet. That's why it's very important to keep tapping into the spiritual world also, because we can't always just trust our own thoughts. I heard on the news recently that 50% of Americans are unhappy. And I couldn't believe that 50%. There's something lacking, something missing. And I think part of that is what we talked about the last couple of episodes is painting the world your color. I mean, we have a choice. We can just exist, or we can pretty much put together the way we want our world, and we can work toward it. And yes, it does take work. And yes, it doesn't always go exactly as a picture we have in our mind. But if you're open to it, you'll find that it's even better. And sometimes what you think you need, what you think you really, really want, you already have, but for some reason you're looking over it. So you have to keep an open mind and your eyes open to already having what you think you're missing. I really have to share something with you before we go on any further. I know I told you that I like to listen to country music because they have a song for everything. Well, the morning that I was thinking about the topic I wanted to discuss in this episode, this country western song came on, and it said, "Who ain't got a story?" It said, "The whole wide world is one big country song." And it made me laugh because if you think about it, the whole wide world is one big country song. And I think we need to find the humor in that. In fact, I shared with you that I had been working on a project literally for years. I finally got an opportunity to fulfill one of the jobs in it, and I was sick with a raging sore throat. My friend said, "Oh my gosh, there really is a sense of humor out there." And I thought, that is so true, where before I would have fallen apart. But because I kept my priorities straight, and I've discussed this with you before, the priorities are being God, yourself, your family, and then everyone else. And remember, I just want to throw this in, that putting yourself before your family or anyone else is not selfish. You've got to be in good shape yourself to be able to help anybody else. And that goes for mentally and physically if you can help it. Back to the job. Having my priorities straight, I was very, very stressed about getting it and my voice because there's a lot of smoke in the air where I live. And I started thinking about it, and I thought, this job is not one of my priorities. It's a human thing, and human beings get sick. They fall short, and you can't be afraid to say, I can't do it. And I came very, very close to saying I can't do it. But with the grace of God, I persevered, and I completed the project. But I was prepared and very, very close to saying I can't do it. When you think of things in terms of your priorities, is this really one of my priorities? Is this really that important? You realize it's not, and it takes a lot of the pressure off. It takes a lot of the stress off. And the stress is one of the things that makes us unhappy. If you are in a coffee shop or surrounded by other people and you listen to conversations. So many conversations are about problems or unhappiness. It's almost contagious. Somehow it was contagious for all this unhappiness to circulate out into the world. And now it's time, I believe, to change it, to be happy again, to enjoy the little things. Here's another story that I wanted to share with you. I know we spoke in the past about painting the world your color. Well, there's a young lady that I know that went away to college and she decided what she wanted to do. So it wasn't a day or two after graduation, she loaded up her truck and moved where she wanted to be, that was surrounded with the position that she had an interest in. From there, she ended up meeting a guy who had the same interest. They married. Now they're surrounded by friends who have the same interest as well. This girl truly painted the world her color. I've never seen it done to the extent that she's did it. It was like she put it in her head what she wanted and she just went for it. And now she's happy. She's in a wonderful relationship. They have a lot in common, surrounded by people with the same interests, living in an area where there's a lot of what she's interested in. I got to say, that is truly a remarkable story of painting the world your color. I also understand that we can have our goals, our dreams, our desires, and think we're heading straight toward them. And then something will happen that just pulls the rug out from under you. Like I knew what I wanted to do career-wise. I enjoyed what I was doing. And then I got this diagnosis that I wouldn't be able to drive, let alone go upstairs or get to where I needed to be. So I just fell on my kitchen floor. And right then and there, I said to myself, I can either buy into it and keep down, or I can pull myself up and keep going forward the best I can. Well, it wasn't easy, but I opted for the second, to keep moving forward. And sometimes we're going to the right, to the right, to the right, and then something happens where we end up going to the left. And at first, it's very difficult because you're kind of in a neutral place. You don't know what the left has to offer. But if you keep going to the left and you make it through the emotional ups and downs that come with changing your dream or your goals, you will find that there are a lot of opportunities. When I first had to change everything that I was working toward, my happiness on a scale 0 to 10 was pretty much a 0. I didn't know what I was going to do, where life was going to take me from there. And it's taken a long time, and it's taken a lot of emotions, a lot of growth. But I got to say, and I mean this, on a scale from 1 to 10, now I am a 10. But all of us that are listening to this podcast, myself included, let's shoot for a 15. And yes, we do need to make some adjustments. And that's why I've shared everything I've shared with you in the previous episodes. In fact, if anyone is listening to this episode, and this is the first time you've listened to it, I would encourage you to start with episode 1, because it slowly builds on everything that I've learned. And it's the things that make us happy are subtle, like getting along with people, not talking about people, not judging people, not looking to others to make you happy. It's all those adjustments that we've gone over that develop you into a person who's confident within themselves and a person who walks in happiness. I know in episode 5, we talked about when devastation does come upon your life, there will be change. If there's illness or loss of job or whatever, but the change doesn't necessarily have to be bad. At first, we think it is, and you almost have to wrap your head around what is going on. But if you look at it in terms of excitement, that there's going to be something new for you, a new life, a new way to live, new opportunities. If you can muster up excitement, there is excitement about having to change gears. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just different. Remember, it's not the destination, it's the journey. Regardless of what your journey is, enjoy it. Make the best out of whatever it is that you have, what you're working toward. And it's fun working toward things. There's a real sense of accomplishment when you get little glimpses of it coming to pass. On that note, I want to remind each and every one of us to spread the happiness. It's got to start somewhere. It's got to start with a single person. Don't be afraid to compliment someone. Don't be afraid to be excited with them or for them when something good comes their way. And don't be afraid to smile at someone. It might be just what they need for that day. And hopefully all of this will spread. Like I said, it's got to start somewhere. Let's all be a part of it. With that being said, I wish you all a wonderful week, and I will talk to you then. Thank you. Bye-bye.